Poor data means that you could build configuration models that are actually divorced from reality. And then you lose the confidence of your users because they know what they're using doesn't reflect what the end user should be able to buy or what manufacturing themselves can build. There's the ongoing data. It's fine to manually cleanse data, to do the data load, but as I said, things change over time, so you need to ensure that you have an ongoing process to make sure that the data that goes into your configuration model is accurate. And we're seeing a bit of an interesting trend here. We're having more and more customers and prospects ask about integrating into systems like PLM systems, which have that data that we can electronically extract and actually put into the configuration model, from there as a mechanism for improving the quality of the data. Typically, we see that whenever the implementation of CPQ is tied to an implementation or upgrade of a CRM system or ERP, the reality is the CPQ, those systems typically never go in on time. So as they get delayed, the CPQ implementation itself gets delayed. And in some cases, that delay is so long that we actually look sometimes at being able to implement the CPQ solution standalone so that the business actually starts to get value from what they've purchased earlier. An interesting one as well, another pitfall we see when there are implementation partners, typically on CRM or ERP. It's not unusual in some ecosystems to see the customers, I hate to say it, every 18 months, 2 years, they change the implementation partner, which again typically puts the CRM or ERP implementation on hold and CPQ is pushed out yet again. In pre-sales, the business does say that they can commit the key resources to the implementation, and then sometimes once they've signed and they have to start, we actually find that those resources are not available. Business as usual takes over. And again, that then pushes out the CPQ implementation, and or we've seen CPQ get cancelled because the business can just not dedicate the key resources to the implementation project. It didn't get the necessary priority that it needed from there. Poor mapping of the to-be business process. I'm a big fan of what we call narrative flow workshop, which is effectively where you start at the beginning and then finish at the end, but it takes in all aspects of the CPQ journey. It includes the interfaces inbound and outbound, any approvals that may be needed as part of the quote process, amounts, discounts, special requests, etc. from there. But even down to the experience for the user when they are doing the configuration. Is it logically laid out so that a novice or expert user can very quickly configure what they need to configure from there. But even within that, when there are drop-down lists of selected options, making sure that you put the correct or most requested type option first, in that list, so people aren't scrolling around. Because if you don't get that right, it doesn't guarantee success. Forcing a system on the users that they don't like to use, it takes them too long. That's not a great way to do end user adoption from there. By the same token, don't complicate the process. Use workflow as much as you can to automate the flow or life cycle of a quote from there. What's the purpose of CPQ? It is at the end of the day to get a quote out to external to your company. There are documents that we have, the quote documents. They're the image of your company. Engage with your marketing or branding department or very early on to ensure that you agree to the content, the style, the branding of those documents. All too often we see people do the model and the documents are an afterthought, or they have a really nice looking model and they have a poor looking document from there. It's the image of your company. Get it right, and it doesn't take much effort to get it right from there. This is all about change. Change for many people within the organization. If a company doesn't manage change well and manages it by informing their users, whether internal, their dealer network, people who are upstream and downstream for the data, if you don't manage, inform, again, you're going to come up against roadblocks and unnecessary hoops that you have to jump through to be able to implement from there. Sometimes within the customer themselves, they suddenly have a change of senior management, CIO, sales VP, etc. The new person comes in with a different vision that everyone has been implementing for a period of time from there. So again, there are many different pitfalls that I've mentioned here, and probably as you guessed, none of them are about the software. It's all about business process and data that should be residing within the customer to start off with.